Gamers all around the world. Today, and maybe tomorrow, and maybe the day after, I'm making a series of videos that will be basically kind of like basic guides for each civ. And this is not really like a super basic guide. It's more about like a build order, basic build order, explaining when to get upgrades, which upgrades to get in the early stages of Age of Empires 4 games. So we're going to start with English, that has a very unique opening, but I truly believe this is the best opening, and even if you're a completely new player, I would suggest learning this over the classic 7 villagers on food, 3 on gold, because I think it's a lot better. So let's get started. So the way you play with English is you will start with 2 on sheep, 2 on wood, and 2 on gold. As we go, I'll explain why and how this lines up. And what I like to do with English in pretty much every civ, I like to open with double scout. Now, there's a little bit of a conundrum of why and how and should you open with double scout with English, because you don't use sheep, excuse my French, because you will go to farms very quickly. The reason I like to go for double scout is not only, thank you for the whistling, not only it enables you to take food from your opponent, you also get scouting done much quicker, and you get to opponent's base where you can harass their gold villagers, which I think is very, very important, and it forces maybe some mistakes from the opponent and so on and so forth. So even though you will not use sheep as English, I think it's very important to have a double scout. Make sure you get the sheep, and like I said, get some scouting and kind of harass your opponent a little bit. So you can see the scouts are going in different directions. I have a video on that on YouTube as well, how to do proper scouting. So you can check that out if you're interested, the scouting patterns and all that. It's somewhere in the guides and tutorials playlist. So the scouts are going around the map. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Once you make the first scout out of your TC, the next villager that comes out, so this is 7th villager, you're gonna make a house, and that same villager will be making a mill right here. Now, I'm gonna talk about why mill there. A lot of people say, shouldn't you just make mill on berries? Well, no, we're not gonna use berries ever as English. So, unless you're a potato or using something, some wrong build. So the reason we're making mill right now, and the reason we're making it here, is for wheelbarrow. Now, you never want to make mill with English in the front, because if your farms are in the front, they're much more open to dying to archers from the opponents, and they're much more open to dying to horsemen and knights. You want to make the mill in the back of your base. You don't care about your berries. You're not going to be getting berries. So make the mill like this. Make sure there's enough spot for farms. Like, don't make it too close to the TC, then you block out the farms. And the moment this finishes, you will have, look at that timing, you're going to have 60 wood, 160 gold, and you're going to start your wheelbarrow straight away. I'm one of the players that started using wheelbarrow a while ago, very, very early. I think it's the best eco upgrade by far. If you do some quick maps, it gives you about 8 to 10% gathering efficiency on all the resources. So it's just an insane upgrade. You should always get wheelbarrow, and you should always try to get it as fast as possible. And if I make, well, I probably will, 7 more guides with the other 7 civs, I'll show you how to get wheelbarrow really, really fast. The reason why it's good, by the way, is your biggest resource gathering time wasted is when the villagers go back to drop off the resources. So wheelbarrow allows them to carry 5 extra and increases their movement speed. So not only they have to go way less to drop off the resources, they're also faster when they're doing it. And this is especially important when you have farms, and when you have like some kind of deer gathering, and when you have wood collection. Not so much on the gold, because the runtime isn't that far, but it still helps quite a bit in the efficiency. Like I said, it's 8 to 10%, so it's quite good. Now, from here on out, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to slowly go to Feudal. Your Feudal will be delayed compared to the usual 7 on food, 3 on gold playstyle, but your economy will be way better and way stronger. So, scouts are still going. So, when to add farms? I'm not going to be moving these two villagers at all. They're going to be working on wood the whole time. And these two guys are going to be working on gold and getting me all the way to feudal with those two workers. When you add farms is the moment you have 37 wood. So with the first 37 wood, I made a farm with the food villager. With the second 37 food, I added another farm. And look at this. When they drop off, I have 36. The next time they drop off, I'm going to add another farm. And I'm going to just keep doing this and get my farm economy set up. And eventually, I'm going to move all the villagers from sheep onto the wood. Because farming for English is the best food income that you can have this early on. So it's just really good. You get your economy set up super safe and your opponent can't harass you, later. Now, these two workers will stay on gold for pretty much, not whole game, but first 10-15 minutes if you're planning to go aggressive. And one thing that's very important in Age of Empires 4 that a lot of people do and that I see a lot of people make mistake of is they move their villagers constantly. They're like, oh, I need gold, move to gold. Oh, I need wood, move to wood. Oh, I need food, move to food. Every time you move a villager, you're losing a lot of resources. So you need to be very, very careful to not do that, which is why build orders early on in the game are important, because just the fact that these two villagers have been there the whole time is extremely, extremely efficient. If you look at my base, the villagers aren't getting moved at all, right? The villagers, the moment they spawn TC, they go to resource and they stay there. And this is very, very important and something that I don't see anyone really mention too much, but it's a very good way to lose and waste resources by moving villagers back and forth. And also, if you're building houses or production, don't build them like there, Look at my first house. I built it next to my TC. Why? Well, because I'm not going to build farms in the front, so I might as well just build it right there. It's not like it's going to give me extra scouting if I put it here. You're only exposing it to lose it to the opponent. Now, with the two scouts, and this is for any civ, once you finish scouting, go on their gold mine or gold vein and harass their villagers. Try not to lose them, so if you don't have a lot of APM, don't do it, okay? Only do this if you're feeling confident enough in your play, if you have enough APM to do what you're supposed to do back in your base, and harass at the same time, because you don't want to be losing these two scouts. But if you have extra APM, you want to harass the villagers, make the move from the gold, maybe reduce their HP so that when you attack, you can quickly pick them off, and so on and so forth, but don't lose them. Now, I'm going to be aging up with 3 workers. I think this is just a good number to age up with. You can also age up at this point with 4 if you want, so you can speed up that delay that we've had because of the wheelbarrow. And even though feudal is later, you will actually have more units in about 2 to 3 minutes due to the economy being set up way better compared to the normal English build. So again, I'm not going to be moving these workers at all. They're going to stay there the whole time, and I'm going to use them for blacksmith upgrades. And I'm going to also get double broadaxe the moment I hit feudal. So right now, by the way, if you didn't know, 4 villagers and food is enough to support your villager production. So constant villager production, you need 4 and food. That's your base to know what you're doing and what you should be going for. So right now I got 4 on farms. I'm building a 5th one. I want to build up my economy a little bit, but if you play any civ and you're wondering how many workers you need 4. So I moved all my workers from food to wood because I will be showing you a basic English guide for aggression. And I will also explain how to rush castle based off of this and ways to reach fastest castle, but I'm not going to go too in depth about it because feudal aggression with English is more popular choice, I guess, so it kind of matters more. Now, you can see I'm adding up farms. I'm getting quite a good income with wood because of that juicy wheelbarrow. I'm rallying all my workers to wood lines and I'm slowly building up farms. Another thing I wanted to mention is you might see this weird farm overlay that kind of messed up. You don't need to do this. So you can do mill and then standard 8 farms that people usually do. This is a little bit of a more efficient way to do it because I can fit up to 10 farms this way and you don't really lose anything. You just gotta optimize it a little bit. That's about it. So, again, you don't have to do this. You can just do 8 farms per mill. The thing is, if you want to add more farms, you're going to need to add a second mill sooner, and that's going to cost you a bit of resources. So that's just something to mention. If you see the weird farm placement, I can fit another farm here, another farm there, and here, which you'll see in a little bit. Don't have to do this. So all my workers are being rallied onto the wood lines, and as I'm approaching Feudal, you notice that I didn't put like 10 farms instantly. I'm slowly adding them. I don't need to rush because I need wood quite a bit. And as your Feudal landmark is about 70-80% done, you add a barracks as well. That's your standard play, spearmen, longbows. And by the time the council finishes, the barracks will finish, and you can start your unit production. And look how good this lines up. I'm adding more farms, as you can see. Look how good this lines up. 170 gold, boom, Feudal hit. I drop off the gold with these 2 villagers. In 3, oh, there we go. And I insta-start double broadaxe. Now, you might be wondering, do you do this with every civ? Is this a normal thing? No. Most upgrades like horticulture or a double broadaxe or specialized pick only really come to be very effective after you have 15 workers on that resource. But most of the time you won't have that early on. So it's not worth when you age up to get all the upgrades. The only reason why I'm getting this is because it's English. While playing aggressive, you will have 15 to 20 workers on it, so it makes sense, right? You investigate instantly. I already have 13. So by the time this upgrades, I'm gonna have 15, 16 on wood, and this upgrade is good. But I don't really need it for farms, for example, or mining, because I only have 2 workers. Because farms, I already have really good economy with English, so there's no reason to really get it. And yeah, the forestry you can get, but it's not that great and it won't boost your income too much, so I would probably skip it, especially because it's 50 gold and you don't have gold to spare at this point. Every 1 tile or 2 tiles, when there's like a tile between your lumber camps, you want to add a new one because it will increase the efficiency of gathering, and it's just a good thing to do. I usually do it basically connected to one another, but you can leave 1 space between and add a new one. It's very important because this distance from here to here is not very efficient, and you kind of want to be replenishing your lumber camps as you go in. So by the, like for example, you would want to put another one like here, another one here, another one here. And this is something you want to do with every civ. So, still producing workers. I started producing units as well. And you can see I have 2 spears, 4 longbows, and a worker moving out, which is a very common thing with English. I'm going to build a tower and slowly start pressuring on the other side of the map. And I'm going to get up to those 10 farms in a second. And basically 10 farms will be enough to pretty much almost constantly produce spearmen, longbows, and villagers. And then all the other workers are going to be rallying onto the wood, because you do want to make blacksmith, and you do want to make you want to get upgrades for longbow damage. You want to get upgraded to build rams, and then when you have 18 to 20 workers on wood, you'll be able to comfortably make rams and, you know, do the push. Don't get the blacksmith too early. This is another mistake I see a lot of people do. They get blacksmith like now, and then it's like they get a ram upgrade, siege engineering, and then they don't have wood to make a ram. So in AOE4 or any strategy game, you want to be continuously producing units and getting upgrades without stopping your unit and villager production. It's very important to remember. So you can see 14 workers. One thing I want to note, not everyone is going to have perfect macro, perfect micro, or whatever. If you're noticing that you're floating, aka having way too much wood but not enough food, you're struggling for food, just take a couple of workers off of the wood, make another mill, and make more farms. In this case, I'm going to make a mill here. Again, don't make it at the front, don't make it too far from your TC, make it as close to your TC as possible. So, when you push with English, another mistake people do is they build a tower like here. Don't build a tower too close, don't be too greedy. Building a tower in Stealth Forest is always good. Opponent want to maybe know about it. It will give you some free space between you and the opponent as a good staging ground and as your rally point, so you can attack from then on, and then you can make more towers and so on and so forth. And your goal with English and this push is to either deny food or wood. In this case, I would suggest denying food, aka berries and deer, because they're at the front and the wood lines are kind of awkwardly in the back. So you don't want to go all the way around, you want to directly deny what's in front. And the benefit of English and why Feudal English pushes are so strong is because you have infinite food right here with the farms that are not harassable. So what you can do is, as long as your opponent is not taking up and you're putting pressure and you're forcing them to make units, they will run out of food eventually, and that's where you win. And if you see that you're far enough ahead, you can just make a ram and just kind of go for it. Just ram them. Here, I'm making a blacksmith, and I'm going to speed it up a little bit. I'm going to get steeled arrow upgrade, and then I'm going to get siege engineering, because I'm not at a point yet where I can comfortably make a ram. So I'm just still rallying units, villagers onto the wood, and making sure the collection is good. And with that double broadaxe and wheelbarrow, the wood income is quite insane, 600-ish, and then food, we got 420. So here I notice I'm a little bit struggling to produce constantly with units, so I add a mill, I add 4 more farms, and that should be plenty. You know, don't go from 10 farms or 8 farms to like 20. Just add slowly, add gradually, because like I said, food income from farms is very good, and you don't need to make crazy amounts. You can see here another lumber camp just to make that a little bit more efficient. And yeah, like I said, your goal here is to deny food or wood, because those are the resources required to make feudal units. You can deny gold as well, prevent your opponent from ever taking up, but denying gold will not deny them from making units. If they can't make units, they're dead. Basically deny whatever you can. So you can see, first tower here, second a little bit closer, more aggressive. Next tower I would make is probably like around here, so not only you deny food, you deny wood. If you want, and that's something I do as well, what you can do is take 2 villagers off of wood, make a mining camp on the stone, and then upgrade your towers as well, which is very, very popular thing to do. It, you know, just allows your outpost to be super annoying to your opponents. And it's also like a ground where your opponents can't really engage into, because, you know, there's towers that shoot, and it gives you a pretty good defensive position. Now, this is, in my opinion, the best standard aggressive playstyle you can do with English. Like I said, your feudal timing where you attack will be a little bit delayed, but you will come in with much stronger economy, because most civs do not get, for example, double broadaxe very early, so you will be gathering more wood compared to your opponent, right? And you have better food income because they're farms and they don't expire. So that's the benefit of English. Now there's other playstyle, which is Russian Castle. Russian Castle works a little bit different. I'm not going to go too in-depth about it, but from the moment you put down your landmark, you can still age up with 2-3 workers. And instead of putting 8 on wood and rallying more workers into wood, I would suggest putting about 6 workers on wood, keeping it that way, having these 2 on gold, and once this landmark finishes, transferring 3 workers from the landmark onto the gold. You would not get double broadaxe upgrade, and basically from then on out, you would be rallying all your workers onto the sheep, and you will be using the wood from the 6 workers to just keep building farms. And you would be going for 16 to 20 farms depending on your farm layout, and everything else you will rally onto the sheep, because you want to get castle as fast as possible. If you're struggling for gold, you can add another 1 or 2 villagers, and from then on out, when you reach castle with King's Palace, which is the second TC basically, you can go into straight men-at-arms, you can go into longbows. The most popular play right now at a high level is to go stables and knights. But if you're not confident in English, or maybe you're new to the game, I would not suggest Russian Castle, because Russian Castle requires you to be reactive a little bit, knowing how to defend what your opponent is doing, reading what your opponent is doing. So initially I would suggest this, and leave Russian Castle for a little bit later till you get more experience. Oh, another thing I want to mention is you go spears automatically most of the time. You can also scout, but it's a safe bet to just go spears, because most civs will react with horsemen. So if you have longbows, horsemen counter longbows, spears counter horsemen, then they're going to make archers for your spears. And then you're entering this battle of horseman archer versus spear longbows. If you micro properly, together with the Network of Castles upgrade, or bonus, which gives you 25% attack speed, you should win the trade. If the opponent is going spear, horseman, or something, you can also add a couple of men-at-arms to tank. And you can also mix in a couple of men-at-arms if there's like just mass archer defense. Like let's say the opponent doesn't go horsemen, just go mass archers, just go longbow men-at-arms. And if you decide to do that, you would need 2-3 extra workers on gold, and maybe pull 2-3 workers from wood onto the gold, so you can actually produce men-at-arms. And yeah, depending on what the opponent is going for, if they're going for archers, make sure you get iron undermash. Getting melee upgrades is not that important, so don't worry about that too much. If they're going pure melee comp, you can get fitted leatherwork, but you don't really need damage upgrade for your spearmen, because your main damage dealers are the longbows. Last thing, Beastyqt. When do I go castle? If you're effectively denying food, but you cannot kill your opponent, you can go castle and then play the game from then on out. Or if maybe you see that the push will not work, you lost too many units, then you can go back home, keep producing units here and there, play more defensive, and slowly go castle. How do you slowly go castle from here on out, you ask? Well, you just take these 8 workers, you make a bunch of farms, you put more on gold, you make maybe like a tower here, like a tower there for vision, you play more defensive, and you move into castle. Obviously, this is not a perfect thing to do because your initial plan was the aggression, but not every game you're going to win straight up, and it's good to know how to transition. Anyway, this was the guide. I'm going to try to make this kind of guide for all 8 civs. The first one was English, this is the most popular. The second one will be the French, and so on and so forth. We'll see which the third one is going to be. Anyway, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. Let me know what you would like to see next, other than these civ guides. If you're watching on Twitch, let's keep going.